Hello, everybody. It is almost Halloween, and this is going to be my review of Castlevania. It is the year 1691 AD, and we are entering Dracula's castle as Simon Belmont, a vampire hunter with the Holy Whip who sets out to slay Dracula and protect the world from darkness. Now, even though this game came out first in 1986 on the Nintendo, it won't be until 2003 for the PS2 that they released Castlevania Lament of Innocence, which is actually the first game in the story. Lament of Innocence takes place in 1094, a little over 600 years before Castlevania 1, and Leon Belmont, of the first of the Belmonts, sets off on a quest to go kill a vampire who has kidnapped his betrothed, Sarah. Upon his journey, he meets Ronaldo Gandolfi, who creates the Whip of Alchemy, or the Vampire Killer, or the Holy Whip that you see me using now. However, it won't be until Leon Belmont discovers that he has to sacrifice his betrothed Sarah, who is later turned into a vampire, in order to unleash the Holy Whip's full potential so that he can then kill Dracula. Thus is the story that creates the ancient blood feud between the Belmonts and Dracula. And now, getting back to the present moment here with this game, we can see that the game is just filled with all kinds of mythological creatures and gothic horror themes, from mermen to Medusa heads to Death himself, and of course Dracula. Also, the architecture of the castle is marvelously done. The artists here do such an amazing job at capturing what it feels like to be traversing through the chambers of the castle, of which there are 6 levels, each containing 3 stages, which creates a total of 18 stages in the entire game until you finally reach the climactic moment of fighting Dracula. And at the end of each level, there is a boss. The first boss is just a giant bat that you have to bring his health down to 0 before he finally dies, and he drops an orb for you to continue to the next level. If at any point you die in the game, however, you will have to start either from the checkpoint or from the beginning of the level, and you only start off with 3 lives. So if you run out of all of your lives, you will have to start at the beginning of the level or continue back to the start screen. It is your choice. This makes the game not as hard as some NES games were back in the day, as you get to start from the beginning of the level if you want to. But if you choose not to, you will have to start the whole entire game over. However, that being said, Castlevania 1 is no walk in the park. This game will challenge you, it'll test your mettle, your dexterity, and your skills through and through. The game is full of tough platforming, obstacles, and combinations of monsters being thrown at you that this make the game very hard. However, the game doesn't leave you high and dry to fight the hordes of darkness alone. The game does give you food to replenish your health in secret little crannies and nooks. You also get items that you can pick up throughout the game that help make the game a little bit easier, such as daggers, throwing axes, holy water, throwing holy crosses, and time-stopping watches. Now, these items that you get in the game, you have to use your hearts in order to use them, and when I say hearts, I don't mean your health. There's a distinction between your hearts and your health in this game. The hearts that you gather by destroying the candles in the game will give you more heart points, and your heart points you use to use your items. And then you have your health, which is the red bar next to the player name on the top left of the screen. So the game can be a little forgiving at certain points, and it does give you certain advantages, especially if you know how to use some of the items against the bosses. It can make the bosses way easier to fight. as opposed to just trying to kill them with your whip. And how could we forget the soundtrack for the game? Another great tool in your tool belt to reach upon when you're having a frustrating moment in the game. Castlevania's tunes will keep you slaying zombies and fighting bats, all while dying over and over again with a smile on your face. The tunes in this game are all very fitting and appropriate, and some of the best on the NES has to offer. I love all of the soundtracks for every level in this game, and I've even decided to dedicate my time to learning how to play the Vampire Killer soundtrack on the guitar, because that's just how much I love the soundtrack of this game. This next segment here that I'm going to play is actually going to be me playing the Vampire Killer on my guitar. I hope you guys enjoy. All in all, Castlevania is a great and challenging 2D platforming game all set in the gothic horror theme of Dracula's castle. And the game's never too difficult to the point where you want to throw your controller at the wall wishing that the creators never developed this game, but it's challenging enough to give you some kind of enjoyment. And if you're looking for any kind of horror themed retro style game this year, I highly recommend Castlevania. I hope you guys liked my review of Castlevania, and if you're ever out there walking around at night and you see a bat, be careful, because that bat might just be a vampire.